Okay, Skolex. Okay, guys, the most important thing about this fight is Vindika. Vindika is going to make or break this encounter. And him being the alpha Chad gamer that he is, going to make this encounter. Vindika is going to be our stack marker. Regarding the stack, guys, the stack timings are very specific. So, especially on this encounter, when you hear me say stack, you need to stop what you're doing and instantly, as quickly as possible, make your way to Vindika, who will be marked. Okay. The stack timing is again very precise. Get there as quickly as you can. We're going to rotate the beefers on this encounter. We'll have two groups. The first group is the three druids. The second group is going to be both our frost mages and the warlock. In this video, 1, 2, and 3 are going to represent the wretch, which is the frontal cast and the baiting of the frontal cast. You're going to start from 1, then go to 2, and go to 3. The smiley face is going to represent the bait for the burrow, where the entire raid will stack on Vindika. These little white circles indicate the beefer movement. So I'm just going to go to the beefer movement once, and then it'll just rotate from there. So after the first wretch, the 3 circles are the beefers. When we stack on, or when we move to the second wretch position, the beefers are essentially going to go into the stack. As the boss is casting his frontal, he doesn't actually do any spits. Once you move to the second spot, the second set of beefers, so Jimmy, Dan, Dakota, will go ahead and stand. After the second wretch, these baiters are going to go stack with the group. And Sash, Clark, and Brad will form the beefers again. Now, we will actually bait the burrow during the cast of wretch. So when the boss looks at Vindika and the range group and starts casting that third wretch, that is when we all make a stack. Because what happens is when we all group up, it cancels the cast of wretch and the boss instead goes to burrow. Okay. So on the third wretch cast, during the wretch cast, we will run inside the blue AoE, the cornel effect. And before the wretch cast finishes, both the melee and the range need to be at the stack marker. Melee the entire time, you have to watch your feet and you cannot get hit by the puddles. On this, the debuff is non-dispellable. You get hit by the puddles, you have the debuff for the rest of the encounter. We'll most likely either die to the dot or we will miss the DPS check. So you cannot get hit by the puddles. Okay, we will then bait the burrow here. The smiley face indicates the burrow. We will then move in a general counterclockwise fashion around the room, like so, with the progressive baiting, burrowing, wretch cast, and the beefer swaps. Okay, so after the first one, we're going to get knocked back. You're going to use Vindika, and he's going to get knocked back in this direction. You're all going to, the range is going to stack on Vindika. This is what it'll look like after the first movement. The boss will be here now, somewhere a little bit further out, I think, right here. So the first wretch will be baited right here. We will maximize the space. After the first wretch, you'll move to second. Now in this case, we will always bait on 2 wretches. So the first one is 3 because we have Bloodlust and the boss doesn't have a lot of stacks. After that, every 2 wretches, we will bait. The beefers, Vindika, when you bait and when you form the range group, make sure there's enough space behind you and the wall of the arena for the beefers to actually get there. After every burrow, beefers 1 will form the beefer group. As before, you will then stack on the group, and beefers 2, you will go ahead and do the bait. Okay, same thing repeats. During the second wretch cast, we bait the burrow. It looks like this. The boss is here now. The first one. When you get knocked back here, Jimmy, you want to keep Nick, sorry. You want to keep getting knocked back towards the outer edge of the arena, but generally in a clockwise fashion. During the burrow, guys, you have to stack them very tight on the stack marker. Okay, just very, think of a Ragallon stack, just very tight. Okay, same thing. The first, they get knocked back here. After the first retch, during the second retch cast, we will then bait again. The sequence will repeat. Boss comes over here. We get knocked for the back first and second. It may not look exactly like this every time because the picture is not exactly identical to the arena outline itself, but you get the general idea. So just remember, guys, 1, 2, bait, knockback. 1, 2, bait, knockback. It's kind of like a dance. The only other thing for healer assignment, Nozilla and Heat, you're going to heal the Beefers, Vindika and Radagast. You're going to heal the Raid, Saucy, or Elliot Reed, depending. Tank healing. The tanks are going to get trucked. Theo, you want to have full defensive trinkets. You want to talent to have an extra defensive cooldown. The rend dot actually hits really hard. The Rift Maw itself is going to one shot you unless you have a mitigation up. Essentially, every Rift Maw cast have mitigation, and then for the rend, attempt to roll a longer duration defensive if you have it. You will also run Mykonos, and you will not run the line of conduits, which makes you automatically use the file, because we're going to use the file at very specific spots to cleanse the debuff, specifically after the third or fourth burrow when the damage really starts to ramp. So again, you're going to use Mykonos, and not use, if you're using Mykonos, don't use the line which automatically uses the file, but the file actually does cleanse the debuff or the dot. Also, we're going to use Bop as well because that gets rid of the dot as well. That's really it. Other than that, kill the boss. Remember, 1, 2, bait. Except for the first one is 1, 2, 3, bait. Beefers, remember, switch at the correct time. Don't fuck up the beefer rotation. Vindika, good luck. Giga Chad, Alpha Gamer. That's really it.